Okay, Sabumnim, Mac. The plan is I'll show you some empty hand, and then some sword, and then some spear. And even if I have to edit the video to show the comparisons, I can do that. Uh, Essentially, everything in Spirit Wind is the same. So we learn those few principles that apply to everything, and it's relatively simple. Each belt level, each black belt level gets a little bit easier because it's just a matter of applying what you already know. So let's start with standing meditation, and I'll just do attention and bow, just like you know how to do. We step out of it with the cradle to come up just above the eyes, and we're doing our body washing. Body washing is basically taking care of any physical ailments, anything that we didn't think about before, like, oh, my stomach is queasy, oh, my heart is racing, oh, I've got a pain in my shoulder or my neck, I just got an upset stomach I didn't realize, my throat is a little sore, my sinuses are congested, whatever. This is our body washing moment. It's a chance for us to kind of scan the body energetically and see how we feel. So of course it's in through the nose and out through the mouth, tongue on the roof of your mouth for your inhale. When you get to the top, you drop your tongue and exhale through your mouth. And we move on to head washing. Head washing comes all the way over the crown of the head, past the ears and eyes, straight out and down. The breathing and the posture are the same. And then we go to expansion. Okay, so let me go back to head washing and talk about it. Head washing is the same as body washing, except it's mental. We're trying to clear out any issues we have with lingering thoughts, memories, especially things that are tied to emotion. Any mental attachments that we have that we need to clear for our own mental health, but also so that we can train more efficiently. All right, anyway, we move on to expansion. And expansion is once your body and your head are washed, once you're physically and mentally clean, then you can share yourself with everyone and everything around you. So expansion is not a matter of self-diagnosis or treatment. Now it's a matter of sharing yourself, being out in the environment. The breathing is the same. All right, and you should know those three: body washing, head washing, and expansion. In through the nose, out through the mouth, centering the hips, shoulder blades back, all the good posturing. So now let's go to Boken. We step out, we go high center. And we do the same breathing, and we just stay here for usually 3 to 7 breath cycles, depending on what you need that day. On an exhale, we move down to our middle guard position. So the first position was high guard and high center. The second is low guard because my hands are at my tanjon. And so, it's low ready position or low center. And the guard block is middle guard block. All right, as I exhale, I'm in low guard position and my hands are still at low center. My hands are at my tanjon. Middle guard, you come up on an inhale. Okay, so trying to recap all of that. We come out of our attention. We exhale as we bow. We inhale as we stand erect. We do our breath cycles, 3 to 7 of them. On an exhale, we come down to middle guard. 3 to 7. On an exhale, we come down to low guard. 3 to 7. On an inhale, back up to middle guard. 3 to 7. On an inhale, high guard. 3 to 7. On an exhale, attention and bow, and then the inhale as we stand back up out of the bow. Now let's talk about the hand positions. We talk about low center and high center. What we're talking about is the second chakra. So your root chakra is at the base of your torso, clear down at the bottom. And then your second chakra is your tanjon, your 1 point. And from there we have third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. So we have 1 to 7 on chakras. What we're trying to do with our meditation, empty hand and weapons, is to connect the second chakra with the sixth. These are our two centers, our two centers of balance, our two mental centers, our two energetic centers. We're trying to ground ourselves and focus our minds. So we start at our high center. So our hands are actually at our sixth chakra. And then we go down to our second chakra for both of these positions. So it's important to know we're working from second to sixth. All of our technique will be done that way. A Shomanuchi strike is done that way. Of course, the opposite is true. All of our strikes that go from one center to the other go from the low center to high center, second chakra, sixth chakra. That's also true of empty hand technique. So think of maybe you have a fishhook throw. The fishhook throw is done exactly like Shomanuchi. Several things are like that. So when we do our technique, we're working on these two centers. Let's say it's a cross wrist grab and I want to do the same throw, fishhook throw. So it's a cross arm. I start at my second chakra. I come up to my high sixth chakra and I do the throw back down to my second chakra. So you can see all I did was 2 sword cuts. I went up and I went back down. So these things should look the same, whether it's empty hand technique, throwing people, or if it's sword cutting, and then eventually spear. Second to sixth, and with the sword 1, 2, 3 guard positions while we go through the breathing. Okay. Next, the spear. The spear is just another sword. Okay, it's an edged weapon used in your dominant hand, using your non-dominant for leverage. Here's your fulcrum, here's your lever action. Same as a sword. They actually operate the same way. Knowing that, everything else becomes a little easier. So we bow. We actually start our spear meditation low. So it's clear down at the root chakra, actually. But what we do with the spear is a little different from the other 2 meditations. Posture's the same, breathing is the same. On an inhale, after 3 to 7, we come to here, which is really more like your third, so it's more like 1, 3. And then after 3 to 7 here, on an inhale, we go all the way up, and on an exhale, come back down to the temple. The temple is right about at your 6th chakra, so we're going right about here. 3 to 7, we go all the way to the highest extension, which is above your crown chakra. It's all the way up. Then we do 3 to 7 on an exhale because we're going down. We come down to the temple, just quick pause, not much. And then we get to this position. Depending on the length of the shaft, your hands will be more or less in arms in a 90-degree angle. 3 to 7 here, we exhale, and we're back down where we started. 3 to 7. On an exhale, we come to attention and bow. On an inhale, we stand back up. Same idea, up and down the sword cut line. We like to call it the sword cut line, but it's also your spear cut line. So using the chakra points, using the breathing, using the posturing, make sure your shoulders are back, your hips are centered, all the good stuff. All right, moving on to Undo. Let's do Sayo Undo. Sayo Undo, empty hand, knife hand guard block position. The Sayo ends kind of sweeping to the side. So now we start the undo by gathering just like standing meditation. We get to the highest point just like the spear standing meditation. And we finish with the knife hand guard block on the other side. This is translated as left and right exercise or reversal exercise. So again, we gather just like empty hand meditation. We get to the high point just like the spear meditation. And we finish in our knife hand guard block Sayo style. Now we move on to Udafuri, just like head washing. Gather just like the empty hand meditation. Your halfway point is actually here. That's when you change from inhale to exhale. Keep turning, head washing, out and down. Coming up. Again, there's your halfway point. Exhale. Head washing, out and down. Inhale, turn. Now we're doing the other direction. Inhale, gather just like standing meditation. High at the middle point and head washing at the other end. Gather, high, head washing, half turn. And we're back to where we started. Now we can do Happo Undo. To do Happo though, need a little space. Gotta deal with horse manure. And chariot, key finger knife hand. Kyung-yi. Remember that reminds us how to do all of our technique. Even I was throwing spear yesterday from horseback and I was using my key finger. It's important to remember key finger knife hand. Into the cradles, which also represent the same meditation, but now we're doing something that's good for technique, right? The weight underside, relaxation, circular motion, 1 point. So we're already practicing all 7 principles. We only do that for 4, but we alternate. Then we go high. And that's for 4. Draw your weight to your left leg. 1, 2, up and over. Slide 1, 2, and 1 at the angle. 2, 1, 2, new angle. 1, 2, 1. Last angle. 1, 2, 180, and 1, 2, drop, touch, and cradle for 1, 2, 3, 4, drop, high, 2, 3, 4, big circle, key finger knife hand, Kyung-yi. You've been doing that for years, you know what you're doing, no big deal there. But what we just discussed yesterday during the adult test is that this movement is how we throw underhand spear. That's relevant to your current study. We don't go like this because we don't want our hips to do that. We want our hips to be parallel and moving along the ground. We also don't do this because we don't want to throw our spear up in the air. We don't do underhand spear like a pendulum swing of the arm. We do it like a shuriken throw, like how you would throw ninja stars. I learned stars before I learned spears, but it's the same thing. And how we move in Happo is how we do underhand spear. So I wanted to point that out. Some of the things that I tell the students about, especially the end of our Happo, is that this is the sun salute. It goes back to India, but before that it was the Iranians. What are those guys called? The Aryans brought that with them to India. Still call it a sun salute, even though we're obviously not worshiping the sun, but it does connect left and right sides of the brain, connects our mind and our body, so it brings unity to our mind, body, and left and right sides of our brain. So we do that, and then also this is a gathering in of everything around us, bringing our entire environment together and to focus. It's the opposite of what we're going to do in a moment. And so from here we do our cradles. After our cradles, we do this, and this is a symbol of brotherly love. It's sharing yourself with everybody around you. I got that from Kenpo, not Hapkido. So symbol of brotherly love. Nowadays you wouldn't say fraternity or brotherly. Now it's universal, male, female, whatever. So you've got your expansion again, like the expansion of our meditation. And then, of course, key finger, knife hand, and that goes back to the Shaolin fist. It goes back to the Buddha palm, and it reminds us to use our key finger in our technique and also our knife hand for extra stability and sometimes power generation. Okay, now with the Boken, well, I can tell you how we get into it. So we bow, all the breathing, you know, exhale now, inhale all the way up to here, turn, drop down with a Shomanuchi, a downward strike, and then we begin. Halfway point changes the breathing, comes through and cuts horizontally to our dominant side. My right hand is my horizontal. And I draw the line. I'm sword cutting. This is an uppercut. To here, turn, downward cut to the non-dominant hand, in this case my left side. So then turning, this is the flat edge of the blade, like a blocking position going toward the dominant hand. We don't try to turn it clear over to get the sharp edge. Probably just hurt myself doing that. So flat edge for a blocking position, and then the sharp edge for the cut. And back, this is the uppercut, and here's the downward cut. How we transition to Udafuri is we go uppercut, turn, down. I think I have to get over here maybe so you can see the whole movement better. All right, here we go. So Udafuri, flat edge. There's the halfway point, so that's where the breathing changes. And then downward cut. All the way, turning, downward cut. Okay. I will do the half turn with an uppercut. And now I'm doing my uppercut as I turn. Halfway point, breathing changes, downward cut. Do my uppercut now. Halfway. And my downward cut. Uppercut for the half turn, then downward cut. Get where the camera sees me better. And then I'll start my hoppo. So we go high center, then we draw down, we get the foot ready, we draw in and thrust. 1, 2, up, down, and in. 1, 2, up, guard block, in, 1, 2, up, guard block, in, 1, 2, up, guard, 1, 2, up, guard, 1, 2, up, guard, 1, 2, and down, in, and 1, and 2. Here's an uppercut as we step, like a Udafuri step here with an uppercut here, then center, then attention, then down. All right, that's probably not new either. Just think about 2nd and 6th chakras. Think about inhaling properly, exhaling properly throughout the movement. Watch my feet. There's a ninjase and a duet balse. Kind of like you're in your guard block here. When you draw your hands, you should be drawing your foot. So that when you thrust, you're doing it with the hand and the foot. That's pretty important. Let's see. Switch to the spear. Don't want to take all night here. So with the spear, I'll go to Sayo. So we high, center, we turn, and we cut. Should look very familiar. Get up here a little farther. This is going to be under your right arm, if you're right hand dominant. You're going to turn, keep the tip down on that same cut line that we used for the sword. Come up under your spear. It should be on the line that you're traveling on, and then stay there. And then horizontal cut. So come up. There's your halfway point, but you're already here. Your hands are already, your shaft is already in line with everything before you get to your halfway point. Here's where you change your breathing and follow through and do your cut. So inhale, keep it there, change to exhale, through and cut. Inhale, change to exhale, down, and you've got it. How we change from the Sayo to the Udafuri is clear the body, come across, drop the tip, do your uppercut. Turn back to the front, do your downward cut. Now it's on your left armpit. Draw the line. Again, come up under it while you're still on the line. Keep it there. Change your breathing here at the halfway point. Keep moving. Tuck it under the left arm. Inhale. Exhale. And down. All right, let's switch. Oh, how we do that is we get it out from under the arm, do the uppercut, center, down on the right armpit. So now we go whoop, and here, change the breathing, and then from here we go up and down. Now to do the turn, we drop clear the body, that is, do the uppercut, center, attention, bow. I think I can do hoppo from here. So we do our bow. Hoppo, we don't center high, we center low, just like the meditation. Draw in, go 1, 2, up and over, swim that, 1, 2, now we go high, down, 1, 2, swim it, 1, 2, high, turn, draw, 1, 2, up and over, and 1, 2, up, turn, down, and 1, 2, swim it, 1, 2, we go all the way up, stop there, come to attention, and bow. All right, so spear is obviously different in that it does this swimming kind of S-shaped movement one time and then just high centers the other time. The high centering makes it a little slower, but it makes it so that you're in a high center and you're pivoting on your axis. So it's a good thing to be in the habit of. That's why it's in hoppo. We have two different ways we move. One is really made for throwing overhand spear, and the other, the swimming one, is made for underhand spear throwing. Let's look at our cuts. So what I did was high center, put my dominant side forward. It's usually best to practice your dominant side first. So that means if I'm right-handed, I'm putting my right foot forward. Your downward cut, turn, uppercut. That's the first thing that we do in our cuts. I'm down on my sword cut line from 6th to 2nd, but then when I turn to do an uppercut, see how much my body turns? My hands have to as well. They can't stay out in front of me. And it goes back up from 2nd to 6th. But actually your hands have to go all the way up a little farther for the cut. And then they're back to that 6th chakra for your guard position. So you have to follow through with the cut and then be back in your guard. So it's down, turn, up, but the hands still stay on that sword cut line. Next is down, turn, up, and I'm still on that sword cut line. I went from my 2nd chakra all the way up, and now I'm back to my guard. If you take the weapons out, it looks like I'm in an X stance doing an X block. Now you see where some of that weird stuff in forms, pattern movements comes from. Not our forms, but the stuff you see in tournaments where they're going like this, like this. Well, if you start to think, oh, so in order to do this, I actually am in an X stance and an X block position. Things like that, you'll go, oh, those weren't empty hand movements, those were weapons movements, and it'll start to make more sense. All right, now we did this, we go downward diagonal, and again, just let the hips do the horizontal movement, and let your arms travel just from 2 to 6, 6 to 2. And then I just go and make the other side of the X, come up and down this way. And then we do the horizontal. So imagine it's the neck. It's best to use your high guard if you're going to cut high on their body. So high guard, down on level, turn the blade through the neck, short uppercut, and back to here. But we don't always have to do the short uppercut to recenter. First thing I have people do is come down on plane, change the angle, get the cut, and right here I just take this end of the weapon and push it back to a high guard position. So you cycle, like that. And then the same is true this way. Now, when you want to do the back and forth, it's important to do the short uppercuts. So it's cross, short uppercut, center, down, across, short uppercut, center, like so. So those are the two ways I want you to be good at doing your horizontal cuts. And of course, you can do horizontal cuts through the body and just stay at your low center because everything is low. But if you're trying to do some sort of decapitation, you probably don't want to go from your low center because you kind of have to get up there, do the cut. It's considerably easier to start at a high center for a high cut. All right, so those are the horizontals. Then we do the thrusts. So I have sword tip at eye level to be the same as knife hand guard block at eye level. Same will be true for spear tip. Empty hand, sword, spear, same concept. So I'm here, I drop it under their chin, I draw like hoppo, shuffle in and thrust, pull back, and go back to my guard. My guard and my thrust are about this much different. So I keep my guard, drop it, do my thrust, back, and then pop it back where it came from. Now for under the sternum, it's considerably more of a drop. So I drop it, draw, thrust with a hoppo, pull back, and all I do is push this hand down, and I'm back to my middle guard block. So then we go to the third position, which is all the way down, as though someone were kneeling or on hands and knees, or if it's the dog or something. Your low target. So you get on line, draw, thrust, retract, and again, I just pump this down, and I'm back to a guard block, middle guard block. If the threat was low, you would really stay low, but this is a drill. This is just a way to practice all of your different things. So after that thrust, we just go back to middle guard. Trains us to stay in the most guarded position, just like we train the kids to keep their hands up when they're sparring. Same with the adults for second level blocking. So everything should translate. Kids, adults, empty hand, and each of the different weapons. All right. Now the spear. Got my balance point, remembering it's exactly like a sword. I go high center, put my dominant forward, do my downward cut. Turn, do my uppercut. It's exactly the same. Now, doing the other uppercut is weird because you have this long handle that you don't have on a sword. So what you have to do is clear the body and then do your uppercut. Some people find that difficult for a while, but it's just a matter of once you're down, you have to get your body cleared by the blunt end of the shaft, put the spear tip down so it's ready for the uppercut, and then come up. Now, in application, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go, hi-ya, now wait a second, I got to get my tip in the right spot. Probably not what I would do. But it's a drill. We're teaching people to do the downward cut and the uppercut. Obviously, it's faster to just do this uppercut. But there are times where this is going to fit in better. And you'll see that when you're doing your second level blocking with counter strikes, counter cuts. So here's our first uppercut. Here's our second uppercut. All right, so now we got the two uppercuts. It's exactly like sword. I go like this. I put the weapon down. I'm in an X stance with an X block. Same. High right to low left. I have to clear my body the same way I did for the uppercut. This is just like the uppercut, but less twisted up. So it's down, clear the body, up. High center, down, clear the body, up. High center, do the opposite side. High left to low right, clear the body. Tip comes back up. High center, down, clear the body, back up. I haven't been talking about it, but when you do your strikes, you have to tuck in the blunt end to be able to reach with the sharp end. Otherwise, the wrong end is going to hit your target. And you can see how much longer the blunt end is because of the center of gravity. So you have to tuck that in and then do your cut. You see that in these diagonals. I can't just I'm not going to be able to reach with this one. I can reach with that. So I tuck that in and I do my cut. Come back up. Over here, I tuck that in and I do my cut. Just to be clear, that's happening. You have to tuck in that blunt end. Horizontals. Come through. This ought to look familiar. I take this end and I push it back. exactly like the sword. And then I come over here and I do exactly the same thing. Okay, and then when I want to go back and forth, I do the short uppercuts, uppercut, center, down. I'm on this side of my body for this. Here, uppercut, down, across, uppercut, down, across, uppercut. And so you've got the two versions of the horizontal cut again, and they are just like the sword. And now I do my thrusts, looking over the tip, exactly like my knife hand guard block, exactly like my sword. Now it's a spear tip, same thing. Drop it under the chin, draw like a hoppo shuffle, in, back, push the hand down, and I'm back into my guard. It's a sword, same thing. Under the sternum, draw, thrust, back, push that off hand down, and you've got your guard block. Low, draw, thrust, back, push it down, and you've got your guard block. All right, so you can see that the sword and the spear are the same for all those cuts. Now the guard block. Okay, so say I'm right foot forward, I got my high guard. This high guard is how you do first level blocking. If the attack is coming from this angle toward this temple, I just turn the flat edge of my sword toward the threat. First level blocking. Turn this flat edge toward that temple, toward that threat. First level blocking. If it's coming straight down and you have to do first level, just turn and it'll hit the flat edge and you can do your counter cuts. First level blocking from anything above is your high guard position, but the flat edge of your sword. Okay, so that's basic. Middle guard position, same thing. It's coming at this side, maybe it's trying to get to my heart, it's trying to cut off this arm. I put the flat edge of my blade to my left, and I've done a first level block. Put the flat edge to my right, I've done a first level block. I drop down to low. The sharp edge is actually toward me in a low guard position, so I don't have to worry about accidentally blocking with the teeth. In other words, the sharp edge. All I do is go bink, bink. To block things from the side, first level, just turn your hips. You don't really have to do much else. If you actually turned it, then you'd be doing the wrong thing. You'd be putting your sharp edge against their sharp edge. So first level blocks are out of the 3 guard block positions. They just don't blend. They're just force on force first level blocking. We don't want to do that. That's a last resort because all I've done is stop that attack. Now they're going to keep attacking. So I block, 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 block. All I ever get done is blocking. Where second level blocking, as soon as they've taken one attack, I'm countercutting. I don't have to worry about multiple blocks. I'm just going to give them one attack. Second level blocking will always be superior to first level for that reason. First level is I stand still and I block it. That's first level. Second level is 50% blocking to make sure that you're safe and moving. 50-50 block and move. Third level is all movement. There's no actually touching your weapons to each other. So that's how those 3 levels work. First level is pretty much no movement, you just block. Second is 50-50, and third is no block, all movement. So that's how you can think of those 3 levels. That's also true for empty hand and every weapon. All right. Spear. I bet you saw this coming. High guard, I block. I block. Middle guard, I block, right? And it's hard to block this side. You can kind of deflect this way, but it's better if you get the shaft on that side. That's a little bit weird because of the long handle. It makes it a little different from a sword block, but you have to push that across to get a good first level block. Otherwise, you're trying to get it without having the whole shaft engaged. So try to clear your body and you can do first level blocking from your middle guard block. Low guard, boom, 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 boom. Not really a big deal. First level blocking, again, is not good, especially with the spear. Whatever you're blocking is probably going to slide right up into your fingers. So we want to use second level blocking when we can. When we're doing our high block, second level version, it'll slide down away from us. So we make a roof and it slides away from us. When we're picking up the attack, if it's horizontal or upward diagonal, we pick it up and then let it come to see the angle so that it'll travel over my fingers. I don't do this and slam it into my fingers. Those little things in second level blocking, you'll have to make sure you get right. But there's no difference between that and sword. Second level blocking with the sword, if it's a showman, just a downward attack, I just kiss contact it. I just make sure that it misses me. No big deal. If it's a downward diagonal, I make a roof and let it slide off my blade. If it's horizontal, I get the tip down and lift to my high center, and then watch, I tilt that while I'm going, so that when I lift, I've made it so that his attacking weapon will go over my hands, not into them. Same with the low diagonal, from low to high. I get a hold of it by putting the tip down, come up overhead, and you can see I've already lifted the tip, and it's going to fly over, keeping my hands safe. Now, we look at those same striking angles and defend with spear. And if it's coming, I usually start here, but if it's coming straight down, kiss contact, do your counter cut. Exactly the same. If it's coming at a diagonal, downward diagonal, make a roof, it'll go right past you, right off the end of the spearhead. If it's horizontal, you get that spear in there and then lift the tip and lift. And you can see it's going to fly right over. Same thing with the low, pick it up, get it up over your head, and let it fly right over. It's exactly the same. And I only did the attack from the attacker's right-hand side. It's all the same from the left. So I just go here for the diagonal, I lift and go here for the horizontal, and I lift and I go here for the upward diagonal. Same thing that you do with the sword, you do with the spear for second level blocking. So I was talking about second level, knife hand guard block, sword middle guard block, spear middle guard block. They're all exactly the same. Look over the tip. Do 50% movement, 50% touching with your weapon to block. Same thing, you just go through the undo as you do your counter cuts or counter strikes. Second level blocking, second level in empty hand, and with the sword and the spear are all essentially the same. Now the requirements, we almost always counter cut with the weapons. We don't have people counter strike from white to yellow empty hand. We do not require any takedowns or kicks to the head when we're using the weapons for second level blocking. So those are some differences, but everything else is essentially the same. One thing we focus on with the weapons that we don't focus on with the empty hand is the kizushi. Second level blocking, meaning in second level blocking. Second level blocking kizushi is such that, let's say the attack was that downward diagonal, and I come through and I make my first cut, and then I see that the hips are set up so that if I was to just give them a push, the person would spin around. Well, I do that, and then I have a beheading diagonal cut to the neck. You use your kizushi to set up your final cut, usually your final cut. So let's say that it was a thrust coming in, I just kiss contact the thrust. Let's say that I cut through the knee on the way by, and then when I high center, I realize, they're not really set up for that neck cut that I want. So I just go to the shoulder blade, basically, and I push with my kizushi, and now the head is set up so that I can step through and do my last cut. So when you're doing your sword and your spear, second level blocking, focus on the off balancing. Show you some of that with spear. Same thing. So I'm guarded, thrust comes in, I do the cut to the knee, which is way easier with the spear. As I come up from that, I'm like, okay, I got to do an off balancing. I push, usually right about here, but it can be anywhere between the hands as well. But I like it to be just in front of my dominant hand. Do my push, and then I realize I have to clear between the two of us with the shaft, but I still have the head cut, and I've done exactly the same technique with the spear that I did with the sword. They're all like that. So if that downward diagonal comes, I make my roof, I do my cut, I realize I want to off balance the hip. This is the earlier technique. I just push the hip, and then I'm like, now he's open. Whatever the technique is that I want to finish with. So kizushi, taking a knee, so you can kizushi at their knee is nice. You can even kizushi at their ankle. Taking the knee to make the cut angle correct. it's important on spear and sword. So if I'm doing Achilles cut, I want to be way down here to do the Achilles cut. I don't want to be up here trying to get the angle for the Achilles tendon. You want a 90-degree angle, so you want to be way down here to do your cut. Same with the knee. I'm going to want to be at least this low, so I may as well just take the knee and get some stability and cut through the knee. I don't want to be reaching the knee from up here if I can help it. I was thinking of the back of the knee, but really anything. So same with the sword. I would come in, I would off balance at the knee. I might come in and off balance at the ankle, but I don't want to bend. I just want to ground myself. Again, I'm pushing at the knee. I'm pushing at the hip, but from the hip I tend to stand up. Just in front of your dominant hand, we always say the first third of the weapon, which is true, but the closer to your dominant hand, the better. Same as the spear. Escapes. Empty hand escapes. Let's say that they've grabbed one hand on each of my wrists, and I go up, and I turn and I guard block. That's what I would expect a white belt to do. Sword, they've grabbed one of each wrist. I go up, and I guard. Exactly the same. Spear. It's weird because of the length, but if they do have one here and one here, I just come up and into my guard block. You can see how everything's the same. If the grab is such that I should go under like this and up and guard, that's the same. The grab is such that I should go under and up, I just come up and guard. And if it's empty hand, same thing. I would just come under, up, and guard. Again, there's no difference if you have a weapon or don't have a weapon. Just do the undo, follow the principles, of course all 7 principles, but also principles of escapes and principles of kazushi, tip and turn. So nothing really is any different. Just get comfortable with the weapon being a part of your hapkido, your spirit wind movement. If you're doing spirit wind, it doesn't matter what's in your hand. It could be one of these rocks, it could be that bottle. Anything that I have available can become a part of my hapkido. You know, when I lead the horses and I get out there and there's no halter, there's no rope, there's no anything, I just take my shirt off and loop it around their neck and I lead them with my shirt. That's how your hapkido ought to be. Whatever you got, right? So you pick up a rock, that becomes your weapon. But you never change spirit wind hapkido to fit the weapon. Just make the weapon fit into spirit wind hapkido.